Now, I don't quite know where these rumours are coming from, but there does seem to be a suggestion that Rodrygo could be leaving Real Madrid in the summer. I don't know how much weight there are to these rumours, but I can't imagine he's going to go for anything less than a lot of money. A lot. And I feel slightly conflicted by this move. On one hand, I think Rodrygo is a player with a lot of qualities that I really like. On the other hand, I do weirdly think that the player people think he doesn't have the qualities developed as much as he should. And maybe that's because he's had to play on the far side of the pitch to what is his natural position because of Vinny Jr. and now Mbappe being the stars of Real Madrid. And it feels like teams that are after him are teams with weaknesses in the left wing position, so you feel like that's where he's going to play. This can only be described as a bit of a gamble, and that's purely down to the price of the transfer. Real Madrid can, and rightly so, demand a lot because of how good he is, and you look at the trophy cabinet he comes with, but I do think that people who maybe don't watch him regularly will look at it and think it's guaranteed success. I'm not as convinced about it, and here's why. Now, because of what I've just said, I'm going to be talking about his qualities on the left-hand side of the attack, but keep in mind that the sample size that comes from Rodrygo comes from playing the majority of his games on the right. And the thing that confuses me, I think, the most about Rodrygo is he's almost built like a counter-attacker without a lot of key counter-attacking qualities. Now, off the ball, he can play direct. When Madrid are in deep positions, he can make bursting runs forward, and depending on who's on the team sheet that day, he can be the primary counter-attacking threat for transitional opportunities to be completely stripped of defensive responsibilities, left up the field on the last line. There definitely is a balance issue at Real Madrid. I've spoken about this before, and Mbappe has allowed a lot of freedom to the point where I feel like his movements have gotten in the way of Rodrygo's, and there is no real chemistry within that forward line. Rodrygo's movements, when it's at its best, is when he's got an overlapper, and he has the freedom to move inside and find space between lines to link up with really good 1 and 2 touch play to quickly manoeuvre the ball through a congested central area and an opponent's shape. Taking the ball, laying it off, and moving off the pass to receive it in another pocket of space is a fantastic quality he possesses. Also, using this freedom means he can make the movements into the box to get on the end of through balls or pullbacks from crosses to get a good number of goals, and he's blessed with lovely technique and composure to finish these chances first time. I think my biggest issue with Rodrygo's game is his lack of intent to take on his market if the risk exists of taking it onto his weaker left foot. I know wingers nowadays are extremely one-footed, but I cannot get behind it and accept it for top-level footballers. The moment a defender stands him up one-on-one and his only real course of action is to attack his fullback, I feel like he's too reliant on the easy option. Someone presenting a sideways pass will generally receive the ball from him in these situations. This is where an overlapper is key for his game, as at least he can find that option to penetrate through an opponent's shape in the wide areas. He does have the technical passing quality to thread balls through to runners in behind. He's really good over a shorter range with his passes on the ground, either in behind or to move the ball horizontally to players in space. Fantastic in the half space, but I do feel like his dribbling gets a lot more rated than it really should. Doesn't threaten players defending him, doesn't drive through tight spaces, isn't blessed with the ability to drive powerfully, suddenly, and cause chaos in congested central areas. Sometimes is a little bit toothless in that regard. And as much as there are balance issues with Madrid, his game I think is advanced with the runners Madrid have, for passes he can hit and space that can be created for him to exploit. But the link that I've heard the most is Arsenal, and I for the life of me cannot see the blend. Arsenal's general attacking play means that they'll be attacking against generally deeper defensive blocks, and they need to break down. And while his ability to find and make the most of space is elite, Arsenal are a team that don't have the profiles to create space for him to thrive in. And with him, I think there would be an expectation for him to create space with his transitional and dribbling threat, and I just don't think he has that transformative quality that Arsenal are after. If there's a choice between Rodrygo and Nico Williams for Arsenal, I'll be shocked if they didn't choose the latter. I could see him at City, I think he'd fit really well in there, but with Marmoush I feel like that eliminates a need for him. I actually think he'd be excellent for Liverpool as a false 9, where he has played a good few times for Real Madrid. And now I've just said that, the more I'm thinking about that, the more I think that would be an unbelievable move. And I hope and pray to God that it never happens. I hopefully haven't just spoken it into existence. Defensively, he's okay. He's probably the harder working of the front four, but that isn't saying much. And I wonder if I'm letting him off a little bit there because of how poor they are. But he drops in well and is fairly disciplined, sticks to his marking roles well, and does have the ability to make direct movements in behind when the counter-attack is on. The difference in him from when the ball isn't and is at his feet is far too great. But let me know what you think, lads. I'd love to hear your thoughts in a bit.